How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 31st of August 2022. So the markets, we are grinding sideways again. And I want to preface the video by saying the overall bearish sentiment is obviously still there. Many people know, obviously, through my Discord. If you're not in the Discord, the link is in the description below. You know that I have maintained this bearish tone for quite some time, but I keep saying to people, these are rallies, in a downtrend. We're seeing the kind of same thing over and over and over again. And it's important while all of this is happening, right, is to not get sucked into looking at lower time frames and seeing big candles and assuming that we're seeing strength, in terms of the upside, because that's really not what we're seeing. So to show you what that looks like, if we just go over to Bitcoin. So if we zoom in on Bitcoin for a second on the hourly chart, you see this drop here and you're like, okay, and then it reverses a little bit. But when you're looking at these lower time frames, movement like this seems pretty exasperated. It seems pretty exaggerated. It seems, quite strong, regardless of which direction it's going in. So, this big drop here looks quite aggressive. This big, candle here relative to everything else, it looks quite aggressive. And they look pretty strong, right? But they're simply not. Obviously, now we're starting to, effectively grind sideways. And if we just take a little bit of a zoom out for a second, we've seen all of this before, right? We've seen a larger fractal of this, on a higher time frame. So we go over to the daily. We've seen it here. Okay, we've seen it here before it started to come back down and fall back in. Somebody actually made a reference to higher highs and higher lows, saying that this wasn't a consolidation. This is obviously quite a while ago. Somebody made a comment. I can't remember if it was on a YouTube video that I did or a Twitter account. But either way, and my argument to that was, we're in a broad range consolidation, and now obviously that price has come back in. You can see that that's indeed the case. But when you're looking at it at the time, it does look like we're trending upwards, right? But now that it's fallen back in, it's solidified the broad range consolidation from point number 3 to roughly around about point number 5. So we're bouncing around within this larger range, and the reason it's doing that is because it's stuck between two fractals of liquidity pools, this big one down here and this one up here. This is why price starts to do this, as it engineers liquidity above price and below price, right? So the point of all of this is to just really emphasize, don't get caught up with these kind of big candles, right? Focus on the 4 hour and above, because that's where the real meat of what you're looking at is, is going to be there. So we're grinding. Obviously, we accelerated a little bit here. And then again, we're seeing a smaller fractal of the same thing. This one here on the daily, drop. This one here, drop. Okay, and then we see smaller versions, a little small one here, drop. Now we're probably seeing the same thing again. It's going to drop a little bit deeper. I feel that number 3 is in play. Probably looking to get down to around about 17,000, a little bit of a response from there. The fact that it went to number 6, and obviously I accentuated this by making it thick to show that that is indeed the case. We are going to number 6. It did get there. Now we're starting to stabilize a little bit. So we drop down timeframes and we start to see what that looks like. And you can see, if we take this point right here being the one that's responsible for the move to the upside, now that we've come all the way back down, this is why price is stabilizing down here at number 6, because it's objective fulfillment, it's nullifying the move, it's avoiding that move to the upside, and it's completing a sell program effectively. I'm not going to go into that, but the point is, that's where we're at. So ultimately, the more we stay here, it is likely that we get pops to the upside and reversals, just like it tried to do here, and it will start to coil. Personally, if it does pop to the upside, I think it's going to be short-lived. But if it just continues to grind, it may just accelerate to the downside and start to go for number 3. Either way, the bearish sentiment is still there. I'm still looking for lower prices. And the weekly chart pretty much says everything. We are at the start of what could potentially be, a pretty aggressive move to the downside, taking out 17.5, and going at least to sort of 15.8, possibly 15.5. And again, we're going to get reactions along the way. Okay, so we'll get little price sensitivities where we get, we see bounces, we see price responding at these levels, but ultimately, until we see an explosive move to the upside, and at the very, very least now, and I'll say this as well, because people accuse me of just, talking one-sided. I believe obviously what I'm saying, otherwise I wouldn't say it. But, on the off chance that we do get an explosive move to the upside, some really, really strong movement to the upside, we want to at least to take out this swing high here, which comes in at 25,000. Get above this convincingly, scoop up whatever remaining liquidity is there, and continue and hover and hold above this. You will notice that I talk about this consistently. Want to see swing points broken, want to see price stabilizing in certain areas, and if we get that, fantastic. But until then, obviously, it's downward movement for me, and that's what I'm going to be expecting going forward. So we just go over to Binance, and again, Binance almost got to just about, yeah, I mean, it pretty much did. The level that I made a note of, obviously I was saying that, we had some liquidity build up under here. This was the first place that price was going to want to go to. It comes in at 271.96, and price on that low hit 272.36, so very, very close. And again, it is likely that we're going to continue, grinding lower. This really isn't a big deal now. It's probably, just looking at this, what's the range? 260 maybe. But again, for us, and this is the most important thing, there's no real rush. We don't have to do anything. We've got our levels on the charts. I'm personally looking for the levels that I keep maintaining, but as a market overview, and what we're seeing, there's plenty of news coming, and news events throughout the month of September that could easily put the market in a free fall, but there aren't many that could get the market moving to the upside. This is why I'm saying be cautious. But again, everybody's entitled to do whatever they want. This is just my analysis. This is just what I'm seeing. And with all of that said, I hope everyone's having an absolutely fantastic day or evening wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to speaking to you in the next update. All the best, guys. Take care. Ciao for now.